Finally, after 3 months since the launch of the Camon 30 Premier, Tecno has finally made it available in this region. The price though. Now, the Camon 30 Premier is not the most expensive phone Tecno has made. It is, however, the most expensive Camon yet, but I'd say it's for good reason. The pricing here in Nigeria is about 685k. In USD, that puts it somewhere around 450. Funny enough, it was 660k when I got mine. Now that actually puts it in the same price bracket as Samsung's Galaxy A55 or Redmi's Note 13 Pro Plus. So you're definitely wondering what exactly it offers that should make you choose it over one of those, or even get an older flagship, because at the same price point you should be able to get an S22 Ultra if you don't mind used phones. Well, that is what this video aims to help you find out. For starters, I believe it is the most affordable new phone you can get with an LTPO display. No kidding. But let's save those details for later. Let's start with the basics. What comes in the box? If you've seen my video on the Camon 30 Pro 5G, this comes in the exact same packaging, with the only difference being the case that comes with it. It's a premium case which I actually prefer having on, even if the leather on the rear is nicer to the touch. I just like that bronze colored ring on the case. We get the Tecno Buds 3 as part of the package and they sound great. Not every day you buy a phone that comes with a pair of true wireless earbuds in the box. For those wondering, this is the actual retail box, so should you try getting one and they're handing you the box with just the phone, that's this one, you should request the total package. We're only getting one memory option here, and that is the 12 gigs of RAM and 512 gigs of storage, not expandable. Now, as far as design is concerned, it goes without saying that this has the more premium look and feel compared to the rest of the Camon series. There are two versions, one with a leather rare finish, that's the black one which I have here. The other is also leather, but it's more of an silicone polymer or eco leather finish. That's the snowy silver version. And then there's a special edition version, I think it's Lowy edition, but I don't know if that will be coming to this region. Also, in the market, I could only find the black one, here in Nigeria that is. Compared to the rest of the series, this is a bit thicker. It has a slightly elevated area for the camera bump, feels more like a flagship on the hands. The frame is aluminium, the bezels are slim, the display is 1.5K, also LTPO, all flagship worthy features. Now the camera ring looks a lot like that on the Xiaomi 14 Ultra, only that it's slightly aligned left. And we have that fine grey tone part that gives it an overall distinctive look. The action dot serves as an indicator for when recording videos, incoming calls, or when charging the phone. You can customize this action for other apps, which would have been really nice. Now, just like with the Camon 30 Pro 5G, this also has an IR blaster for controlling your electronic devices. Later on as we proceed, I'll also specify the exact areas where this is different from the Camon 30 Pro 5G, because I'm certain there are some people who are curious if this is worth the extra cash. This has an IP54 rating, so it's only dust and splash resistant. Not quite the standard you'd want for a mid-range phone. IP67 should be the minimum. I mean, it's probably not a problem if you don't take your phone swimming, but at this price point, it should really be there. Another thing you should be aware of is that the Camon 30 Premier does not have eSIM support. You can use dual physical SIM cards, but no eSIM. On the display side of things, this probably has the best specifications when it comes to mid-range phones. It is 1.5K in resolution, it's AMOLED, it's 120Hz LTPO, that is variable refresh rate that can go as low as 10Hz. I think this is only Tecno's second phone to have that. We first saw LTPO with the Phantom V Fold. Actually wonder what Tecno is cooking for the Phantom series this year. Back to the Camon 30 Premier. It is a solid display which checks all the boxes for a good mid-range phone. Pretty much flagship if not for the use of Gorilla Glass 5, which is still solid. It's a smooth device to operate, they got it right with the animations, and I have no complaints here. The fingerprint scanner is optical and it works just fine. The software on Tecno's Camon 30 Premier is mostly the same as we had on the Pro 5G with a few extras. Plus some complaints I have which we'll get to. Tecno commits to 3 years of software support, which is actually 2 major OS upgrades and an extra year for security updates. This comes with Android 14, so that is support up to Android 16. As mentioned earlier while talking about its display, the software is smooth to operate. iOS is feature packed and it has come a long way to improve the user experience. There is less bloatware, no ads, although there is a grey area with the Camon 30 Premier and I'll explain that shortly. We have good integration with Material U. There is a Smart Hub and Smart Panel, both giving you some advanced level multitasking. There is also the fact that this is one of the only mid-range phones with some AI features, not just the ChatGPT powered voice assistant Ella, which you can use for proper research. We also get Ask AI, a feature that helps you summarize the selected text on a web page or research more on the topic, and it works great. There is text recognition from images or within any app when you tap and hold with 2 fingers. We also have object eraser with images. You can find this when you edit an image from the gallery. The last option at the bottom toolbar contains the AI eraser feature. I'd say it does a pretty good job. One more software feature which I think is cool is the ability to screen record in 2K. Most smartphones screen record in 1080p, but this one takes full advantage of its 1.5K display and gives us 2K screen recording. There's more on software features, but let's not make this video longer than necessary. Now, the gray area with the ads. My first few days using this phone, there were no ads, bloatware was minimal. But a software update came and afterwards, 2 apps got installed, and then I started getting notifications from one of them, even without launching the app. Now, this is not a deal breaker, they can be uninstalled, and I can easily restrict the notification access. But for a phone at this price point, I should not be getting unsolicited apps installed with a software update. I also noticed in the dialer app there's a tab for ULive. I'm seeing this for the first time, probably because I've always installed and used the Google dialer app. At first I wondered why it was there, but I can see its usefulness. It's more like a hub that provides you one-click access to most USSD functions, like checking your airtime, recharging, including banking USSD codes. I'm not used to the dialer having third-party software. Let me know in the comments if you've noticed this feature or used it on any of your Transsion phones. Now, aside these complaints, which does not significantly affect user experience, everything else is great. The Camon 30 Premier is sporting Mediatek Dimensity 8200 Ultimate, a really solid processor for a mid-range phone. Bar the Poco F6, I don't think there is any mid-range phone with higher benchmark scores than this. Correct me if I'm wrong. Performance-wise, there are no lapses as far as I can tell. I've been using this for over 2 weeks now, and I can confidently say this gives me the user experience similar to the Phantom V Fold. Now, one of the things I've noticed using this day to day is that it tends to get hot when doing something really demanding like playing high graphics games. Hotter than the Camon 30 Pro 5G even when they have the same processor. Now, it could be that the metal frame makes it easier to give off heat, but it does not really affect the user experience nor make the phone drop in performance, at least not in my experience. It did not get as hot when I used the camera for extended period of time. Now, to answer the question of how it compares to the Camon 30 Pro 5G. First, it has a more premium build quality. It feels more better on the hands. The 30 Pro 5G has a higher refresh rate at 144Hz, which might be your preference if you run apps that can maximize that. The Camon 30 Premier, while having the lesser 120Hz refresh rate, is LTPO, so it's better for battery life, also higher resolution at 1.5K. It's smoother to operate too and feels like a flagship. They have the same processor, mostly the same specifications, except that on the cameras, the Premier has a dedicated 50MP telephoto camera, which makes all the difference as you can take really good portraits and videos at 3x and up to 60x with that lens. We'll discuss the camera performance in detail shortly. Now that pretty much sums up how they compare. Now let's talk about the gaming performance on the Camon 30 Premier. As I mentioned earlier, it can get hot while gaming, but that depends on how demanding the game. Call of Duty Warzone Mobile is as demanding as it gets, and it's also the game I played the most. I observed the frame rate staying between 40 and 60 and consistently above 50 FPS on average. It performs just fine. Not the best on the graphics fidelity, but gameplay is great. With other high graphics titles like Call of Duty Mobile, you can play at very high graphics and max frame rate, or go on ultra frame rate with the graphics quality set to low. That gets you 90 FPS. You can also play PUBG at 90 FPS when the graphics is set to smooth. The Camon 30 Premier is a phone that has most of its strengths in the camera department, but should you want to game more than casually, it will do just fine. The battery life here is great at 5000 mAh, and you can use the power brick in the box to fast charge it at 70 watts. For the average user, this should easily go a day on a full charge. Now let's talk cameras. There's much to say on this one. Just like with the 30 Pro 5G, this also uses Sony's IMX890 sensor. Tecno packs this device with 50MP all around. The main, the ultra wide, the telephoto, selfie, all 50MP. I always like it when I have the option to shoot in 4K 60fps, especially on a mid-range phone, because how else would I have gotten this beautiful shot of these butterflies? That alongside the telephoto lens gives you quite the camera functionality. This was shot with a portrait lens. If I'm correct, this is the only mid-range phone at the moment with a dedicated telephoto lens. I might be wrong, but as far as phones available in this region, there is no mid-ranger that can shoot 4K 60fps or have a dedicated telephoto camera. I found myself using the telephoto camera the most thanks to that 3x optical zoom, and I'm impressed with the quality, especially with portraits. Photos and videos shot using the telephoto lens give that nice depth of field. The ultra-wide and main cameras also do an amazing job on getting detailed and well-processed photos. Selfies are also sharp and well-processed. The overall camera performance is almost unbelievable for a Tecno phone. I'll argue that this takes the spot for the best camera setup on any Tecno phone. I compared some of its shots with the Galaxy A55 since they are similarly priced, and I was surprised at the results. Now, depending on how this video performs, I'll probably do a dedicated video comparing the Camon 30 Premier and the A55 in detail. I have a few observations with the camera when it comes to videos though. Now, while it has good stabilization, even recording at 4K 30fps, I noticed it doesn't translate to the actual processed video. It looks more stable while recording than the actual results. This only happens with the selfie camera. The major reason I'm actually doing this is so you can see how stable it is from the viewfinder compared to when the image is already processed. Not sure why that is so. I'm going to probably put them side by side while I'm editing, and hopefully Tecno can see this video. If it gets enough views, it's probably definitely going to reach them and fix that with a software update. The processed video should not look shakier than the viewfinder, if you get what I mean. Also, while recording video, you can't switch between lenses. You can't switch to the ultra wide or telephoto. You have to stop recording to switch. Hopefully Tecno can fix that with an update. You can actually see the grayed out bar for the other lenses while you record, but you just can't switch. The Camon 30 Premier is arguably Tecno's best effort yet. I said arguably because the V Fold makes a compelling case, but it makes me eager to see what they have coming for the Phantom series. Software is much improved, the support is there, and it's not lacking in terms of features. They just need to address things like installing third-party apps through software updates. Not cool. For those wondering, this is a much improved device from the Camon 20 Premier, and I'd say it's worth the upgrade. That's all I have on the Tecno Camon 30 Premier. Peace out.